They say trust is the foundation of every strong bond. I used to believe that if you truly loved someone, gave them your heart, and remained loyal without hesitation, they would never betray you. My name is James, and my story is one I never thought I would tell. I was married to Sarah, my high school sweetheart, the love of my life. Our relationship was the kind that people admired. Friends and family saw us as a perfect couple, steadfast, affectionate, and always supporting each other. I felt incredibly lucky to have her, and I wholeheartedly believed she felt the same about me. But then came the night that shattered that belief. The night I discovered that the woman I trusted more than anyone was hiding a secret that would tear my world apart. Let me take you back to the beginning, back to when everything seemed flawless. Sarah and I met as teenagers. She was a rare blend of beauty, kindness, and intelligence. From the moment I laid eyes on her, I was captivated. We quickly became inseparable, sharing everything, our dreams, fears, and deepest thoughts. We attended the same college, graduated together, and by the time we were settled in our careers, we were planning our wedding. The day I married her was the happiest moment of my life. As I stood there watching her in that elegant white dress, I thought to myself, this is it. This is the woman I will spend forever with. Over the years, we built a life together. We moved into a cozy home in a peaceful neighborhood, secured stable jobs, and began discussing starting a family. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Friends often told us how fortunate we were to have each other, how rare it was to find love as strong as ours. And I believed it. I was convinced we were different, that our love was extraordinary, unshakable. But looking back now, I realize how blind I was, how much I ignored simply because I wanted to believe the woman I loved would never hurt me. The changes were subtle at first, so small that I barely noticed them. Sarah started working late more often, saying her job had become more demanding. She worked in marketing, and she claimed new projects and deadlines required extra hours, including weekends. I never questioned it. She was ambitious, driven, and I admired her dedication. But soon, her late nights became more frequent. She'd return home hours past her usual time, saying she had gone out for drinks with colleagues or stayed back to finish a project. She dismissed my concerns, assuring me it was all part of her career. At first, I didn't think much of it. We both had our own lives, our own careers. I trusted her completely and believed she would tell me if something was wrong. But then I started noticing small things that didn't quite add up. She was always on her phone. Even when we were together, she would be texting or checking messages. And sometimes if I walked by, she would tilt the screen away or quickly put it down. She would laugh at something on her phone, but when I asked what it was, she'd simply say, "Oh, nothing," and change the subject. It seemed insignificant, but it planted a seed of doubt in my mind. The distance between us grew gradually, almost imperceptibly. We used to talk about everything, but now our conversations felt strained, as if she was only half listening. When I asked about her day, she gave me short, almost rehearsed answers, as if she didn't want to elaborate. I tried to reach out to see if something was wrong, but she always brushed it off, saying she was just exhausted or stressed. I convinced myself it was just a phase, that every relationship had its highs and lows. But deep inside, an uneasy feeling in my gut told me something wasn't right. One night, she came home well past midnight. She had told me she was going out with co-workers, but when she walked to the door, her hair was slightly disheveled, her makeup faintly smudged, and there was a lingering scent of unfamiliar perfume on her. I tried to dismiss it, to tell myself I was overthinking. I didn't want to be the jealous, paranoid husband, the kind who jumps to conclusions without proof. But that gnawing feeling in my stomach wouldn't go away. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I did something I never imagined myself doing. I picked up her phone. My hands trembled as I unlocked it, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to find anything. I wanted to prove myself wrong, to confirm that this was all in my head. But then I saw a message from someone named Mike. It was from the night before. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." My heart sank. I scrolled up, reading through their conversation. And with every message, the truth became more unbearable. They had been meeting for weeks, maybe even months. He told her how stunning she was, how much he missed her, how he longed to see her again. And she responded with words that shattered me, words I'll never be able to erase from my memory. She told him he made her feel alive, that she couldn't stop thinking about him. I put the phone down, unable to comprehend what I had just witnessed. It felt as if my entire world was crumbling around me. I want to convince myself there was an explanation, some logical reason why those messages didn't mean what they clearly implied. But deep down, I knew the truth. The woman I cherished, the one I had dedicated my life to, was betraying me with another man. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our relationship in my mind, desperately searching for the moment everything had gone wrong. I kept asking myself how I had missed the signs, how I had been so blind. The next day, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I had to confront her, try and keep my voice steady. I asked, "Who is Mike?" She froze, like a deer caught in headlights. But within seconds, she regained her composure and dismissed it as if it was insignificant. She claimed he was just a colleague, someone she occasionally spoke to, but when I pressed her, her story started to fall apart. She became defensive, accusing me of not trusting her, of invading her privacy. She tried to shift the blame onto me, making it seem as though I was the one at fault. But I couldn't ignore what I had seen. I told her I knew about the messages, that I had read their entire conversation. She stared at me for a long moment, and in that silence, I saw the truth reflected in her eyes. She admitted to the affair, but she tried to justify it, saying she had been feeling lost, that she didn't know how to tell me. She claimed it was nothing more than a meaningless fling, that it didn't matter, that she still loved me. But how could I believe her? How could I trust anything she said after everything I had uncovered? The love I had for her, the trust one had nurtured for years, was shattered in an instant. I felt betrayed, humiliated, as if everything we had shared had been nothing but a carefully constructed illusion. I couldn't stay in that house. I packed a bag and left, not knowing where I was going, only knowing that I couldn't remain there with her. The days that followed were a blur of pain and rage. She tried reaching out, sending messages, leaving voicemails, begging for forgiveness, promising she would do anything to make things right. But the trust was gone, broken into pieces that could never be put back together. In the end, I learned that sometimes the hardest thing you can do is walk away. Trust, once shattered, is nearly impossible to rebuild. And though the pain was almost unbearable, I knew I couldn't stay in a relationship built on deception and betrayal.